This parochial school hasn't been used for education for about 6 decades. In the time since its closure, it has housed church and community events and fallen into the lap of one of Detroit's most notorious slumlords. Before we dive into this school's limitless redevelopment potential, let's dive into how we got here. Detroit's St. Albertus Parish was founded in 1871 and was Detroit's first Polish Roman Catholic parish. The modern church, completed in 1885, has been a staple of the East Side and Polish Detroit for nearly a century and a half. Detroit's Polish roots expanded, though St. Albertus remained one of the most respected churches in the Motor City. There have been 3 St. Albertus parochial schools. The first was located on the site of the present-day church, and the second was significantly larger and across Canfield from the church, which is now a vacant lot. The modern school building, which we're talking about today, broke ground in October 1916, and the new school was dedicated on September 30th, 1917. Harry J. Rill was the architect, and when it opened, the school had 24 classrooms, 8 large meeting rooms, a reading room, a library, a large billiards room, and specialty training rooms for domestic science and manual training. The Felician sisters ran the school, which initially taught classes in Polish. Many immigrants learned to speak English at the school. In 1953, 13-year-old Robert Bobby Drewek was a safety patrol boy at the intersection of Canfield and the Grand Trunk Rail line west of the school. Every school day, he got to his post at 8 a.m. and helped ensure students got across the railroad safely. The crossing had lights and an arm that came down, but these devices were still manually operated by a person pressing a button. After escorting a group of classmates across the tracks, Bobby noticed the Grand Trunk commuter flying down the line. Simultaneously, he saw a car approaching the intersection and ran into the road to alert the driver. The car sped past him and was hit by the train, pushing the automobile backward, striking and killing young Bobby. Shortly after the accident, the safety arms and lights were initiated. The driver was hospitalized but survived. This was the second accident at the crossing in a week, the first of which prompted a GT repairman to try and fix the safety features. Later testing showed that they were initiated at least 6 seconds after the button was pressed, a delay which led to safety changes around the city. The 100 Club, an organization that assists families of fallen police officers and firefighters that's now called the 200 Club, paid for Bobby's funeral. In the years that followed World War II, investment had left the city and moved to the suburbs. The GI Bill offered guaranteed home loans to World War II veterans who were nearly 90% white, and the suburbs began to expand at an unprecedented rate. Simultaneously, highways were built through America's cities, making it easier to work in these faltering commercial centers while living elsewhere and blazing a path through intact neighborhoods in the process. For decades, you could have your first communion, graduate from high school, get married, and find an affordable house, all within a short walk of St. Aubin and Canfield. As Poles left Detroit and the city started to change, this wasn't an opportunity for young Detroiters, regardless of ethnic descent. As population loss gripped the neighborhood, the Polish Catholic parochial school reeled, as the few new residents in the neighborhood often weren't Polish or Catholic. St. Albertus School closed around 1966, but it was still used by the church for various community events. The parish survived until 1990, when the Archdiocese of Detroit closed it and dozens of other churches. The Polish American Historic Site Association was incorporated in 1992 by a group of primarily Polish women from the former parish, and eventually the nonprofit purchased the church and school. The organization maintained both properties, but the church was always its focal point, so it eventually sold the school to fund its renovation efforts next door. Today, the church remains operational with a handful of masses per year, occasional special events, weddings, and other celebrations. Meanwhile, the school next door has seen better days. The school's original buyer eventually sold it to Dennis Kefilanos, a Detroit land speculator who owns hundreds of properties around the city. Since taking ownership, he has done just enough work to keep the city off his back, and nothing more. I'll save my comments on Kefilanos for another video, but we're at the point where we should discuss the future of this building and neighborhood. Old schools can make excellent mixed-use or residential developments, and there are examples of projects like this one just 2 miles away. There's already some density in this neighborhood, with the St. Aubin Square apartments and townhomes across the street, and adding more residents could make it more appealing for small businesses to open here. The school is a mile from Midtown and less than a mile from Eastern Market, making it easy to access trendy areas with some of the highest rents in the city on foot or by bicycle. Additionally, the Joe Louis Greenway will go right through the neighborhood, making it easier to access the city without a car. With so much green space near the school, it's easy to see new developments, parks, and housing being added if such a project were to be completed. The nonprofit still owns the former St. Albertus Church next door, and it isn't hard to imagine it becoming even more useful with more residents in the neighborhood. When done correctly, projects like this can entirely change a neighborhood's viability and the quality of life for a longtime resident. With the school's current owner, I don't see a large-scale project happening here, but Kevilanos has sold properties in the past to enable new, exciting developments. Regardless of its ownership, one thing is certainly true. This building matters. If you enjoyed this, please throw a like on the video, drop a comment down below about what you think a development here could be called, and subscribe to the channel for a new video every Friday. I think St. Albertus Square would be pretty good, or we could just call the whole area Pulltown Super East, because we're even further this way from Pulltown East, which is that way. If you want to support the channel, you can look in the description below to buy a t-shirt I've designed or get a print from my print store. As always, this building matters.